It was so unspeakably beautiful. It felt like there was this vibration in the room that I had never experienced before.
We would take naps a lot together because we were emotionally very exhausted and physically very exhausted. There's this one day where we're filming, I think at like the record label as we're signing our deal, and Finn and I fell asleep together on a couch, and Justin set up the camera and took a time lapse of us just being asleep while the crew was like moving around us and like fixing all the things, setting up the next shot. And it's the funniest thing. It moves so fast and we don't move at all. We're just like breathing super fast. It's so funny.
Yeah, Sabrina and I are great friends, and being able to shoot with her was so much fun. We were actually the first two who were in Montreal prior to filming. So we were just us two hanging out and trying to figure out what to do in this strange city we had never visited before. I say strange, but what I mean is very cool and just unusual to us both. And we had so much fun just exploring, and I think we like went on a Ferris wheel and just explored old Montreal. It was so much fun, and it was great that we had that bonding experience right before we started filming. She's amazing and uber talented.
Honestly, Lil Rel, who plays Mr. Weaver in the film, just was always making me laugh. So any scene that we filmed with him, like I was usually cracking up like in between takes.
Mine was probably driving in the car with Tom Everett Scott singing to Sum 41. That was a pretty awesome moment, and we just got to jam out in the car and have fun for like a half an hour. It's a great song too. Awesome car. All in all, A1 experience.
The wrap day, there were some pranks happening in the airplane scene where, Sabrina and Justin played some pranks. We're shooting a scene and I'm looking out the window, and then all of a sudden, like, Sabrina's doing this thing going by the window in the shot.
Yeah, what you see in the film is actually pretty reminiscent of what it was like in real life. I was on that stage and it was a really vulnerable moment, and to look out into the audience and see not only a bunch of Zach's family and friends, like all of the Sobriechs were there, all of his friends from high school were there, and I'm talking the real people, as well as my parents and my sisters. I'm looking out into the audience and hearing all these people sing Zach's words, and it was so unspeakably beautiful. It felt like there was this vibration in the room that I had never experienced before. And it was truly one of the most amazing moments of my life. And that song holds so much power and love. And to be able to be on the receiving end of such a beautiful group of people singing those words was very special.
You know, I don't want to date myself, but I feel like for the last 7 or 8 years of my life, like I was very comfortable performing in front of crowds. And so it's weird when you're doing it in a setting of like, this is a movie and this is a scene and we have to stop and start and film over and over again from different angles. So we did have a crowd full of extras, and also the family, Zach's family and Sammy and Real Amy were all in the crowd during that scene, which was so special, especially having Sammy there because I was singing the song that she wrote for Zach. So it was all very emotional, and you know, the tensions at that point were pretty high because it's a very pivotal part of the movie. But we shot it over the course of 3 days, and it was intense, but one of the best parts, at least for me, about filming.
I do remember Clouds coming out back in 2013 and it hitting #1 on iTunes, and my whole family and I were listening to it and following along the exact story. So when I got the audition for Clouds, it was crazy full circle moment, and I remembered that year and that time of my life, and I was so excited to even audition for the project. So the fact that I was able to play Zach is just a huge honor, and it was also so much fun just because he's such a fun guy.
I'll be completely honest, I was very young when this all happened, you know, so I wasn't super familiar with the story. I made myself very familiar very quickly after I read the script. And I watched Justin's documentary, My Last Days documentary about Zach, and then, you know, Laura's book and listening to A Firm Handshake's album. It was a story that immediately I was like, wow, like I see why it's being made into a movie, and it's also just such a one of a kind story that, being a part of it would be unreal. And also for me, it incorporated another passion of mine, which was music. And Sammy's just such a light of a character that I don't know, overall, I was really, really excited, wanted nothing more than to be a part of it. And it worked in my favor.
I actually wasn't aware, I don't know why I missed it, but I wasn't aware of Zach's story. But when the script was sent to me, I sort of went down the rabbit hole on YouTube and started watching all his videos and watching the documentary that Justin made and getting to know sort of his story in such a beautiful way, and became very excited to be a part of it.
We had a lot of time to prepare and do the pre-records before we filmed. I think we did it a couple months prior to filming, but actually what you hear in the movie is live recordings. So every moment where there's a live musical performance, they ended up using the audio from when we were filming. So that's pretty cool and unusual for any sort of musical film. But we did a lot of training, and we also wanted to make sure that our vocal tones were similar to Zach and Sammy's because they have such a unique and beautiful sound to both of their voices. So we wanted to capture that essence and kind of reimagine the songs in our way, but definitely inspired by both Zach and Sammy.
So we did all of the music live, which I think is amazing and something that you don't often get to do. A lot of the times you'll do it in the studio and they'll use that audio. But for us, we got backups in the studio, and then everything that we used in the film was the live audio from on set. And for Finn and I, the nice thing was we gelled so quickly as not only friends, but musicians. So the music for me, I felt like it was one of the easier parts of the film. I never really had to worry too much. I mean, I played ukulele in one of the scenes. And so like there's a little bit of practice of learning the songs, but it wasn't hard to learn the songs because I just loved the songs, and I fell in love with their album. So Finn and I love singing Fix Me Up. That's one of our favorite songs, but they're all beautiful. So it was very fun.
It wasn't that awkward. And I will say Madison and I have been friends for years and years before Clouds. So having the opportunity to work with her was just so much fun. We were just jumping at the chance to do that. In fact, she was in my first ever music video. We were dancing around and kissing in that video like years ago. So to have this moment where we got to perform again together was a crazy full circle moment that I never thought I would have the opportunity to participate in. Working with a friend is something you always want to do, but it usually doesn't happen. So being able to do that was so much fun.
My best dating advice? Don't. No. Just don't, No, I think what's funny about Sammy too, and her in real life, like she has that, she's gonna kill me for saying this, but like she has this awkward charm, and she is so like the person to be able to like laugh at a situation that is uncomfortable or serious. And I'm very similar in a lot of ways. I think, my best advice is find your best friend. And I know that sounds like overused and overdone, but it's so much nicer when you can laugh with someone that you love and feel vulnerable with someone that you love. But I think first and foremost comes like a really solid friendship. Yeah, absolutely. I've always wanted to do action. I think maybe just like my training of like, I did light gymnastics training growing up, but dancing was a huge part of my life. So just overall, like action was always something I was really fascinated by. And yeah, huge fan of all those films. So would love to do something like that. That'd be dope. I need a cool costume or cat suit or something. Well, I actually just announced a new version of Alice in Wonderland that I'm going to be a part of. So could not be better timing. It's a modern day musical version, but I can't really say anything else other than I'm teaming up with the people at Netflix, and I'm so excited because it's going to be something like it's a different way than you've seen Alice before. But yeah, I've so many, incredible like dream Disney live action roles, but Alice for me was like the one that grew up being like my spirit animal of a character, her and, you know, Rapunzel and Ariel. Like there's just so many great princesses.